Hey everybody, it's John here, otherwise known as the History Buff. I am going through a whole bunch of videos today, so because I have time, thank God. We're gonna go through today, and we're gonna talk about the history of the 4th of July. It's a crash course in the U.S. in U.S. history. This is sort of a background, I think, I'm hoping, of why we celebrate it and something that's really like quintessentially American. So without further ado, let's get into it. Just take it for what it is. It's an American, a real American thing that's going on for a long time. So it's not like more of your more Americans now do this and they're worse than ever. We've done this for a long time.
Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course U.S. History, and today we're going to talk about July 4th, which in the United States is known as Independence Day. This is the day that Americans celebrate our independence from Great Britain by doing what we do best: blowing stuff up, offering significant discounts on mattresses, driving long distances for uncomfortable family interactions, and eating a lot of grilled meat.
100% true. That's pretty much what happens. We blow up a lot of stuff. What else do? We blow up a lot of stuff. We spend a lot of money on fireworks. We really do. And believe it or not, it was supposed to be the 2nd of July. I don't know if he'll get into it or not, but it was supposed to be the 2nd of July. That's when everything was signed in terms of declaring our independence. And it ended up being like, I think it was like told to everybody on the 4th, so it became that day. But no. By the way, I do enjoy this holiday, and I kind of do it unapologetically. You know, we do. I know we have good things and bad things about each of our countries, but you know, this is one of our particular holidays. This is probably the loudest one. Christmas is sort of subdued. This one is extremely loud, and this is so American.
Right, so the story goes that the founders of this nation signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, parting ways with King George to found the freest, finest nation on the face of the earth.
Yes, it's our birthday.
Yeah, except the Continental Congress actually approved a resolution of independence on July 2nd. The Lee Resolution was proposed by Richard Henry Lee of Virginia in June of 1776.
Richard Henry Lee. Henry Lighthorse Lee. His son was Robert Edward Lee, Robert E. Lee, General Robert E. Lee, because notable from of fame from the Confederacy. He was the some people considered the best general of the Civil War, or the best general we've ever had. So yeah, that's who he is.
And was a simple legal declaration of separation from England. John Adams got so excited about it that he wrote to his wife Abigail, "The 2nd day of July, 1776 will be the most memorable epic in the history of America. I am apt..."
That's right, he said epic.
"To believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other, from this time forward, forevermore." So what happened on the 4th? Well, not that much, actually. The Declaration of Independence was the formal announcement of independence, and its text was approved on July 4th, 1776.
There were a lot of these things in history. I'm sure you all know how it goes. And they didn't have social media, so it wasn't instantaneous. You know, like we watched this Russian mutiny go on with Prigozhin and all this stuff, and it happened it started one day and well, almost one day, and ended the next day. That's how quick it was. There's another example in history. For example, we now celebrate a holiday called Juneteenth. It's from the Texas area. It was when people who were slaves or found out they were former slaves, they knew it was, they didn't know the calendar all that well, what day it was, what the actual date was. So it was a 10th of June something. So it became Juneteenth. And that was actually in May. That particular area had surrendered to the Union, and actually the Civil War technically ended in April. So it was 2 months later that they found out. So it's when you hear about it. And now we celebrate Juneteenth.
The fancy parchment version with all the pretty calligraphy wouldn't get drawn up until July 19th, and most members of the Congress signed the Declaration on August 2nd. Adams may have been wrong about the date, but he was definitely right about the celebration. Americans started celebrating the 4th of July as early as 1777, and as Adams predicted, the holiday was observed with feasts, 13-gun salutes, and fireworks. Why don't we call them illuminations anymore, Stan? You know, people can say like, oh, we put a man on the moon and we can refrigerate our meat now, but I miss the old days. Anyway, in 1778, George Washington celebrated the 4th by giving his soldiers a double ration of rum, and also there was much more shooting than usual. But while the people celebrated the anniversary from the beginning, the federal government took its sweet time in formalizing the holiday. Independence Day became an unpaid holiday for federal employees in 1870 and became a paid day off in 1938. 4th of July observances have evolved over the years, but they generally involve patriotic displays, including decorations, fire, and explosives. Essentially, we celebrate our independence by having a one-day fake war each summer. Huzzah!
So we have a lot of accidents on the 4th of July. And as a matter of fact, I have a friend who I went to school with. He does not have his, what you call a ring finger. He blew it off with an M80. And if no one wants to, no hospital, no one in healthcare wants to work the emergency room on July 4th because so many accidents come in, people blowing parts off, all this stuff. There isn't much. I mean, they say their fireworks are illegal in some areas, but you know, they kind of look the other way. But anyway. Oop.
Freedom tinnitus. Early observances were...
Yes, they're really loud, by the way. Stuff that if you're not from the States, you'd call the police on. But on the 4th of July, nobody, I mean, some people call the police, but you're pretty much expected to deal with it.
Marked by huge bonfires, but the litigious nature of modern American society has greatly reduced the number of bonfires. However,
well, that and our houses are made out of wood, so that's the thing.
We still have a lot of fireworks on the 4th of July. Many cities and towns across the country sponsor fireworks displays on the 4th. New York's fireworks display is the largest in the nation. Despite the grandeur of these officially sanctioned displays, many individuals across the nation feel the need to blow stuff up on their own in their yards because, you know, they have all of their fingers, and that seems like too many. Many states have restricted the sale and personal use of fireworks, freedom haters, but would-be patriots find their way to marginal neighborhoods every year to buy fireworks out of the backs of vans.
Okay, yeah, freedom haters, right? Because we were looking for our freedom, and now we probably have more taxes and restrictions than ever. But yes, so you can go to a mall parking lot, or a retail center. You'll find a tent sticking up, and it'll say fireworks. And sometimes they're legit, but they only take cash, I'm pretty sure. Some may take credit cards now. Also, you can get the really big ones, honestly, out of the back of someone's van. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, or you know, what, back of their car. It's sort of like a backroom deal. And again, the cops or anybody pretty much looks the other way. It's not because they're corrupt. It's just because this is the way things have kind of always been. It's not like this has changed a lot. We've always had crazy celebrations, you know, almost 100 years. I mean, it was really bad when I was young, but, you know, now they say, you know, be careful doing what you're going to do. Nobody listens. Some people do. But people spend thousands of dollars, like my neighbor, who will, you know, basically shoot stuff off. Your dog will get PSD. Everyone will get PSD if you're too close. I mean, it's nuts.
My neighborhood, these personal pyrotechnic celebrations start in about mid-May and continue well into August, causing my dog to have a very stressful summer. John Adams' prediction...
That's true. 4th of July is sort of the climactic part of it. And this is when you're going to see most Americans be at their most American. And let me know, by the way, if you've ever attended a 4th of July celebration in the States. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It really is. But yes, we celebrate pretty much from the end of May. People are like, we're testing out our fireworks. And there's a lot of barbecuing, a lot of outdoor cooking.
About gunfire holds true as well. On most military
Gunfire.
bases, 50 gunshots, one for each state, are fired at noon on July 4th as a salute to the Union. And in Stan's neighborhood, where you go to buy the fireworks out of the backs of vans, celebratory gunfire is common throughout the year. Here is an actual bullet hole in Stan's actual window. Stan, can we get the Libertage again?
Okay, I don't know who Stan is, but I'm assuming Stan is like Philomena Kunk's Paul. Okay.
In the 19th century, many ex-presidents celebrated the 4th of July by dying. Both Thomas Jefferson and John Adams died on July 4th, 1826, and James Madison died on the 4th of July in 1831.
Okay, the Thomas Jefferson, James Madison thing, that's important to note. We talk about we get a lot of crap for this in America, and I mean, fair enough. But when you have two of the founding fathers, the major, two major ones, I'd say within the top 10 for sure, top 5 for sure, actually, when they both pass away on the same day, like something like 50 years later to the day on July 4th, it's kind of hard when you're in this particular situation for the nation not to take it as a sign. And I think you could probably understand how public sentiment would see that.
Calvin Silent Cal Coolidge was born on July 4th, 1876, but as he was never demonstrably alive, no one really cares that much.
I gotta say, Calvin Coolidge, probably the quietest American president we ever had. A woman made a bet that she could make Calvin Coolidge say more than 2 words. And she tried to get him to say these words, and he walked up to the person that made, I guess it was the other end of the bet, and said, "You win," and walked away after saying absolutely nothing.
Finally, lest we forget, Americans also celebrate the 4th of July by eating. Millions of Americans host cookouts to celebrate independence, and the greatest spectacle in professional sports happens every year on the 4th of July. I am referring, of course, to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. The current world record is 68 HDBs, hot dogs and buns, in 10 minutes. That means the world record holder, Joey Chestnut, consumed about 28,500 calories in 10 minutes.
And by the way, you don't want to know what goes into an American hot dog. Just eat it and deal with it.
But don't worry, he threw it up shortly thereafter. So happy 4th of July from all of us here at Crash Course. We may not celebrate American independence on the right day, but I would argue that in spite of it all, it's still worth celebrating. Thanks.
All right, Americans. Did I get it right? Do you do this? Do you have an epic story of your celebration? And Brits, and Europeans, and everyone else who's watching this, what do you think? I'll be honest, it is the most American thing that we do. Probably the most American, thing we do. What do you think about it? Just curious to hear your take on the situation, and I'm just in the comments, see what you think. I personally, and I'm very honest, like in these videos about the good and the bad of America, I think this is actually really a fun thing. I think people take it far, but there's always like this one thing in every country that they take too far, and you deal with it. Now, granted, we have a lot of them, but this one I really do enjoy. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, like it, share it out, give it a thumbs up, whatever you want to do. It helps the channel, and I'll talk to you guys soon.